everybody. How are you guys? Yay, I'm just a minute late. Well, I'm 11 minutes late. I apologize. I had to reset the time because you know, you know how it goes. Rachel and Mark and Christine, lovely to see everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Always something. Yeah. So I I have a terrible topic for tonight, you guys. That's why I didn't put it in the title. Um, I'll just spit it out. Domestic violence. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Everybody hates it. That's why there's so much stigma. So much stigma. And that doesn't help. Please hit your like button. And there. I think I've got everything under control. Like, do you remember a couple nights ago when it looked like I had like the big like lump neck shoulder? Like, it's hilarious. You just like turn the slightest bit and everything gets all wonky. So I don't need that. I have enough of my own problems. And you know how I always say, if that's my biggest problem, like having a weird angle on my freaking camera, then yeah, I'm going to consider myself extremely lucky, extremely fortunate, right, you guys? So let's get all adjusted. How's that blue light behind me? And Mookie is at the door. I'm not going to let her in just because then it's one thing after another, even though I do love her dearly. And you guys would probably rather see her than me when it comes right down to it. Am I right? Who's Robert? I have no idea who that is. When I say domestic violence, I'm talking about the cases that we normally cover, like Watts, obviously. Kylie Rodney, possibly, and Idaho 4, possibly. Gabby Petito, obviously. Suzanne Morphew. We don't cover that case too much, but that's another one that I do like to touch on. You're worrying too much, Jess. You're so cute. It's just the problems of being a content creator, especially when you put your face on the screen. Notice that a lot of content creators don't do that. And I don't think it's because they're shy necessarily. It's just that there's so much to it with the angles, with the lighting, with this, that, and the other. It's just crazy making. And, and then you don't have your mic on or something. But I think I have my mic on. I think I'm not going to worry about it. Thank you guys for being here. And let's see, I just got a message from one of my mods. So I will look at that really quick. And all right, so we are good to go. Rachel Smith says both his fiance were found dead in his house after recorded domestic violence, verbal. Yeah, I am not familiar with that one. That's awful. That is so awful. Let's see. Mark, I empathize with you being a newer content creator, and the thing with the it is a hard habit to break, but you're fine. It doesn't bother me at all when you do it. And yeah, people will always pick on you for something or criticize you for something, but I try to use it all as constructive criticism because it can be, and it's helpful if you take it the right way. It can also be brutal, so don't take it the wrong way. Don't let it get to you. So yes, Mark says, hi, yoga teacher. You guys, I put up a pre-recorded video just like an hour ago. I worked all day on it. It's not that good, but the yoga's okay, but the video is terrible because, again, it's just like a whole new set. It's a yoga studio. The lighting is all effed up. The camera angle all effed up. The where I'm at in the camera frame all effed up. I'll get it figured out, but there's quite a process to it, quite a learning curve, and I actually came a long way with that because I did one in the same yoga studio a few weeks ago. I don't think I posted it because of technical difficulties. I would have posted it even though it was worse than the one I did today. But I'm just trying to share with you the behind the scenes, what it's like in the rest of my life. Because honestly, since I've quit my job, and so my focus is my YouTube channel and my yoga classes, my teacher certification, and of course, my family. I feel like I'm busier than ever now that I don't go to work, because when I went to work for the 10 hours of the day from like 7 until 5, it was very structured and it was very controlled and contained. And I was able to watch my YouTube and do all my YouTube stuff, which, wasn't breaking any rules. So now I feel like things are more chaotic, and I'm trying to dedicate more time to the yoga because that was really what inspired me to quit my um, my day job, was so that I could focus because I was completely overwhelmed. So I'm not overwhelmed anymore. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm not overwhelmed at the moment, shall I say. But that's because I got to spend the entire freaking day focusing on my yoga teacher training homework the entire freaking day. And then I made that little videotape for you guys. And I expect to be making more of those videotapes, and I expect them to get a lot better, both, with all of the technical stuff, but the class will be getting better. And yeah, if you're interested, it's the cool thing about yoga is you can do it anywhere, anytime. You don't even have to have a yoga mat. You don't have to have anything special. Of course, it's nice to have a yoga mat and some yoga pants or something, to keep everything comfortable. It's nice to wear comfortable clothes, whether you're doing yoga or not. But my point is that 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and you can be in terrific shape. It kind of reminds me of Jack LaLanne back in the 70s, you guys. Those of us that are old enough to remember Jack LaLanne, he was sort of the guru and granddaddy of fitness, that you could do just like jumping jacks and stretches, push-ups, sit-ups. And then came the Jane Fonda workout, right? And that was a really good workout. If you did the Jane Fonda workout, you'd be in great shape. And yoga is the same way. Just do a little yoga, keep at it, and it works wonders. But what is more important is that you feel good. You're in good condition, you can do more, your energy level is better, you're stronger, you're healthier. That flexibility is so important at any age, but especially as we age. So yes, I do need a cameraman. And yeah, my kids, I'm lucky that they help me with the IT stuff. I don't think I can get them to help with much more. I was trying to think of something profound to say, Anna Bean, but all I can think of is haters are gonna hate. Don't let them bother you. And I I like to hear what they have to say if I can not take it personal. I do like to hear what the trolls have to say, because sometimes I think there's a grain of truth in it, and that I also think it can become an amazing springboard to kind of dive off of. It can be a learning point for sure. And sometimes it takes a minute. It's like I can first be offended, I can first be hurt or whatever, and then I can think about it for a minute, and then I can utilize it. And I like it when I can do that. Yes, Anna Bean's old like me. She remembers Jack LaLanne, Bob Ross. I do Bob Ross yoga. And he's made such a comeback. He's so popular. Stretching is wonderful, Rachel. And I will be honest, I've been an athlete my whole life, basically. I've done yoga off and on my whole life. I can be really bad about stretching. So, like, if I'm doing more of like biking and hiking and running, which I don't do anymore because of my knees. Um, I don't stretch as much as I should, if at all, honestly, if at all. So, like with swimming, I love swimming because I'm stretching while I'm swimming. But that is just a lot of time. If I swim, I like to swim for 90 to 120 minutes. And then you've got all of your prep time and pool time and getting out of the pool. I mean, it's like half a day. It's ridiculous. And then I'm so tired, I can't do anything else. I mean, it sucks, it drains you. But I love it. I love swimming too. But yoga is my sport du jour. I'm learning about flexibility, having hip surgery and arthritis in the other hip. Oh, Christine, yes, absolutely. Hey, squirrels. Hello, hello. Jack LaLanne takes me back big time. Yeah, I was a little kid when Jack LaLanne was around, but I lived in LA and he lived in LA. And I never ran into him, but he did have his own spa there, the Jack LaLanne Health Spa. What was the name of that street it was on? It was right next to this like world famous magazine stand. You guys probably know what it's called. Anyway, tennis and pickleball. And see, you got to stretch when you do those things. You can hurt yourself so bad playing soccer, basketball, volleyball. If you don't stretch first, you will be screwed again at any age. My favorite place to do Tai Chi, yoga, and pound. Hello, everyone, and God bless everyone. Amen. Jazzy Squirrels, Michael McAllister. Yes, nice to see you too. All right, so let's I showed the thumb. Let's do the share, subscribe, ring your notification bell thingy, my bob. There it is. And this one is way too big. And then I have the one that's way too small. I'm like the Goldilocks here. This one, you can't even read it because it gets all flooded out. There. Way too small. You can kind of see it. Again, the freaking angles. Stupid camera angles. Okay. Mama Smurf, what's up? Christina, nice to see you guys. Thank you so much for coming in, people. Where to start? Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion and learn something and be educational. My videos are all made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. I am monetized now. I have been since Monday. They did it overnight once my husband fixed that thing, making my channel not a business channel anymore, because that was the hang up. So it's cool. It's, the dollars are rolling in. I mean, of course they're just little dollars, not big dollars, but it's still fun to watch it. Like, the numbers, they go up every day. I think it's probably over $6 by now. So, but that's pretty good. 5 days. It was actually like doubling each day. It was like $1 on Tuesday, I think, and then $2 or $3 on Wednesday, and then it was like $5 yesterday. I haven't checked it today. So anyway, enough about the moolah. It's not about the money. It's about the integrity, right? It's about finding justice for those that cannot fight for their own justice. So we have all been destroyed by Kylie Rodney's case. I would say that most of us here have been destroyed by the Watts case and even the Idaho 4 case. I mean, that's not children in the Idaho 4 case, but they're still somebody's children. And my concept of potentially that all three of those cases are domestic violence. I'm not saying that they are, because that hasn't been proven, but Mama D, who I really respect, she's been on a thread, a momentum of her own, inquiring if Jack D might be a better prime suspect than the guy that they have in jail. And I've always thought that. I've kind of kept my mouth shut for a while because quite frankly, there hasn't been a lot pointing to him lately. But in the beginning, a lot pointed to him. And I think that those things still stand. I think that his alibi was not an alibi, that he lied and said that he was at home asleep when in fact he was out with the girls at the corner club. So that doesn't add up. There's a lot that doesn't add up. His lack of explaining an explanation of why he didn't return their texts or phone calls that night or in the morning. There's a lot, a lot, a lot. I will link Mama D's couple of her most recent lives where she talks about it in at great length, because I want to give her all the credit where credit's due. She's really been hitting it hard, and I am so appreciative, because I think that it's like she said in her words, that Jack D's a much better prime suspect than the one that they have in prison. And Mama D has a lot of experience. She is from the state of Wisconsin, and she has done extensive work on the Stephen Avery case, which I have mixed feelings about the Stephen Avery case, but I do think that there's a lot of effery in that case, and there's a lot to learn in that case. Shan, great drop you did. LRN, crazy. Oh, was that like the short that she did? You guys, I'm going to plug her last live panel again, the one from maybe 3 nights ago, where she had 3 lives that night, and it was the third one, and I think it's about 2 hours, a little bit over 2 hours. And she has the bum on her panel, which everyone was asking about the bum. I don't think she has the bum in the title, although he's in the title of the other 2. It's funny. And then Crane Kicks was one of her guests, and was it Tammy, the local, who had a lot of great information to share, and then Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G, the honey badger. And it was just a really lively discussion. I caught parts of it that night. I was like in and out of sleeping. I was trying to stay awake, but I was having a lot of trouble. So I caught some pieces of it, and then I listened to the entire thing in its entirety yesterday, and it was so educational. I highly recommend it. I know it's hard to keep up with all of our videos and all of our lives, and I love having that problem. I love a challenge, and I'd much rather have too much to choose from than not enough. And it's hard to find that balance, but just find that balance for yourself where you're not overwhelming yourself. It's important to have some time away from the YouTube as well. And believe it or not, I do that every day. I step away and give myself time. I like quiet. I like solitude. I like peacefulness. I like to just unplug. It's essential. So Mark says, hi, Jazz. Why are you saying hi, Jazz? Oh, brain fart. I'm like, what? You're making my brain fart, dude. That's hilarious. That's cute. Yeah, head injuries are rough. I mean, I don't know that you had a head injury, but you'd call it like a traumatic brain injury, right? And it's just amazing. So I watched a video a few days ago, you guys. I think it was actually just yesterday, and it just showed up in my feed, and I was very curious. Maybe it showed up in some of your feeds as well. Again, I will link it. It was a video that a teenager made about herself. She'd been in a car wreck where she was literally dangling from a power line, and she lost her leg like almost all the way up to her hip socket. And that girl had the best attitude in the world, and so much to share and so much to live for. And it was just extremely inspiring. It was a miracle that she survived. It really is. I think it's about a 13-minute video, and it's kind of gone viral. I think it's probably up to about 1 million views by now, but it's really good. It's really good. It's not true crime, but that's okay. That's all right. It doesn't all have to be true crime, does it? Like the yoga is not true crime, even though there is a corpse pose. I mean, that doesn't count. And yay, Sue Lee catching a live. Yay. I don't recognize your name, my dear. Thanks for coming in. And Christine recognizes you and says hello. The bum, Tammy Sue, thank you. And Crane. Crane is the same as Crane Kicks and Craney, right? And also wasn't Divine Justice, aka Mrs. G, on there for a minute or two? Oh my goodness, you guys. I was on Ara's live last night. If you saw it, I fell off almost half a dozen times. It was ridiculous. It was so out of control. But I kept coming back. She kept having me back, and it worked. I mean, it was just, I was tired. I was out of it. There was this problem, that problem, the other problem. It was ridiculous. I was like, am I even supposed to be doing this? Maybe this is a sign. But I was determined. Oh, Squirrel says she'll rename it. I found the Stephen A case totally messed up as well. Yeah, and his nephew. I can't remember his nephew's name right now. I'm so close, but I'm not even going to try. Squirrel says she's going to rename her video. Yeah, let people know in the title that that has the bum in it, because I know a lot of people want to see the bum. I renamed it to Kylie Rodney with the bum, Crane, Tammy Sue, Mrs. G. Perfect. Excellent. Yeah, I think I put links to it in my last two lives. Best live ever, Seeing Red Flag says. Well, it's funny because that night, like I said, I was falling asleep, so I was in the chat a little bit, but it was so spotty. I thought that it was a terrible live because I really didn't catch it, and it was just like garbled and overwhelming and confusing. And so I listened to it the next day from start to finish, and it wasn't any of those things. It was perfect. It was great. So that was just me and my sleepiness misinterpreting it. I was projecting, right? I was garbled and nonsensical. Okay. So I saw a similar one with Michael J. Fox. Where is your live, Ranch? Ranch Boss. Does Ranch Boss have a channel? And good to see you, Crane, Craney, Crane Kicks, BFF, Booties, Boot Tits. All the same person. Oh, that's funny. Yes. All right, you guys. Brandon. Yeah, Brandon. And then his last name starts with a D, right, Christine? Yeah, I almost said Brian. I'm glad I didn't say that because I don't like to confuse myself and you guys by putting the wrong names into the conversation. So I just refrained because I'm terrible with names. So I figured I probably wasn't remembering. But Brandon, and then I'm pretty sure his last name starts with a D. Anyway, better than my life, Mark says. Yes, it was. Two are better than one. I was on replay crew and listen and work, and it was so good. And I was at work, but trying to listen, but I wasn't able to see, hear very much, but it was good. Mark, your lives are amazing, Seeing Red Flag says. Well, you know, Mark is just really low key, and he's just himself, and he's not doing no bells, no whistles. And not that Shan's not doing the same thing, but Shan is definitely not low key. Shan is like high key, right? Shan is amped up. I mean, high energy. That's the squirrels. The squirrels are on fire, right? And Mark is chill, very laid back. And both you guys are very humble. And I think that's important. Thanks, not oh, silly. And yes, he does have a great heart, and his doggy's okay. Shan is on it, and the shizzle. Damn commercials. Oh no. I realized today that my little baby Mookie is a year older than I thought she was. I thought she was 7, but now I'm thinking she's probably 8. And I know you said your dog is 15 and he was having a rough day on Valentine's Day. I'm so glad that he turned a corner. I hope that things stay good for him. So, so amazing to have our little fur babies with us. You cannot be half asleep. Listen to Squirrels on Fire. I love it. That's great. That's funny. So, ours live last night. I was tired, but I was awake the whole time. And I was just having all kinds of trouble. So, I did get a chance to review that live, thinking that I probably effed it up with all my freaking interruptions, but I thought it was a pretty good live actually in the end. I think it turned out. Diet, diet, diet for the little guy. So there's a very amazing newer video from Prophetic Forensics that I want to mention to you guys. Very amazing. And there's also a brand new Ninja this morning about MC Ultra, and also super top quality. Tonight, Watts the Obsession is doing a live probably in a couple of hours. I think she said that it's scheduled for 9:30. She is, as you guys know, one of my mentors, so I kind of learned from her to always be late. So just so you know that about Kelly, is that her lives usually start later than she says the time is scheduled for. Not a criticism, just a heads up. And also, usually the first few minutes, she does like Shan, and she plays a lot of what is that called? Like just preview type of stuff. It's good. I wish I had that. I'm just not into that whole thing, that whole like technology thing. I always say it's a miracle that I even have a channel. No, you cannot, Squirrel says. My friend Laura says she falls asleep to my lives, but then texts me the next day asking if she heard things right or is partially confused because she only half heard. Yeah, I literally thought that it was just like not making sense and that it was just like sheer chaos, but that was because I was asleep and it was, just waking me up basically. So the pieces that I caught were just uh, disembodied, I guess is a good way to say it. So Ninja and Illuminated Mind both did awesome drops. Illuminated Mind, I don't know if I caught a new Illuminated Mind yet. Really amazing. Yes, they did. I won't be going live till after Watts. Oh man, it's going to be a late night tonight. I'm going to try to stick around for all of it. And again, back to the topic. Where's my drink? I need a little bit of my veggie juice. My throat's drying up. And let me just knock everything down. Thank goodness that didn't knock my juice down. I just knocked down my stupid cardboard sign. It sounded bad because it's like a metal shelf that it landed on, but it's fine. No big deal. All right. So domestic violence, you guys, it's so shunned. It's kind of looked at, I think, as it's a private problem, and it's a personal problem, and the victim still gets blamed a lot, a lot, a lot. You can look at Shanann. That's a perfect example. I don't care how much she was on Facebook or what her parenting style was like. Nobody deserves to be taken out like that. We know that. That's a given. But the good thing about, say, Gabby Petito's case is her parents have used her case and the $50 million that they won from the Moab Police Department lawsuit. They've utilized it for a domestic violence movement. And that's phenomenal. That's fantastic. Poor Gabby, 21 years old, and that's her accomplishment in life. And at the same time, you want to give it all the power that you can because it did cost her life. And you don't want her life to have been lost in vain. And if she can help take some of the stigma away, especially with younger people. Like her and Brian Laundrie were in their early 20s, but there's domestic violence in teen relationships, and it is very hard for people to talk about it or think about it or not be in denial about it. And what I see in the world so often is that these people that then go on to commit, say, a mass shooting, that often people that have done that have a history of domestic violence. And had they been more than slapped on the wrist when they were charged with domestic violence charges, then maybe some of these shootings wouldn't be happening. People who have violent tendencies towards a significant other have violent tendencies towards the world in general. It's nothing that the significant other does to bring it out in the person. The person has it in them, and anyone and anything will bring it out. So it's, I think, imperative to change the way we view domestic violence and the way domestic violence offenders are charged. And a lot of times the things that men do to their partners, like, yes, there are women who commit domestic violence against female partners or male partners, but most often it's men committing violence against women. But of course there's domestic violence in relationships that aren't heterosexual, and there's women who beat up their dudes. Anyway, people need to be held accountable. People need to suffer the consequences. So the things that people do in these personal relationships, if they did that same thing to somebody at a bar who wasn't a domestic partner, they would get charged with a much more severe penalty. So why is that? Why are the charges not taken as seriously, especially when it's not fatal? If it's fatal, then it's more serious. But when, I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, typical thing is men choking out their domestic partner in domestic violence and then not getting charged with attempted murder. Remember in Gabby Petito's case, the cop asked her directly if he'd ever like grabbed her around the neck. And that's when she admitted that he had grabbed her face. I think she was saying that he did it that day. But also, while we're on the Gabby Petito case, I didn't finish a thought the other day that I want to put it out there because I feel like it's important to know the story of what was going on with those two that day. They had a 6-gallon bottle that they stored their water in that was empty. And they filled that 6-gallon water bottle at the parks that they went to visit, like the national parks. So like the Moab, Delicate Arches, they were headed there to both go for a hike and refill their 6-gallon water bottle. So they were without hydration for the last couple of hours before that incident happened. And that's really serious on any day, but especially a super hot day in the desert. And I brought it up a couple days ago that Brian was using the water as leverage to get Gabby to stop working on her computer. And you know how it is, like everything takes so much longer than you think it's going to, especially when it's business and especially when you're new at it. And so he'd been harassing her all day to wrap up what she was doing so that they could go for a hike and they could fill the water bottle. But of course, there was water at the freaking health food store that they were in front of. But I don't think Gabby was allowed to drink that water. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but we know that Brian Laundrie said he would not touch water that came out of a plastic bottle, even when offered it ice cold in the middle of a sweltering hot day in the desert when he's dehydrated. He's just like, no, not touching it, right? And Gabby was happy to take them, but she didn't even open them. She was probably afraid that if she opened one and drank it, that Brian would unleash more of his wrath on her. And then there was the whole thing with the bottle of Gatorade that the cops gave her that she left on the curb unopened. And I brought this up a couple of lives ago too, that there was a case of Gatorade bottles at the campsite of Kylan Schulte and Crystal Turner. A case of Gatorade bottles. And I'm pretty sure that they were stacked in a peculiar manner. So that information is hard to find, but that was the information when it first came out, was that there were Gatorade bottles stacked in a very peculiar manner. So it's interesting. It's interesting to think that the Gatorade might have been something that really set off Brian Laundrie, and that he left those there at the campsite up there on LaSalle Loop Road as his signature or calling card. Possibly. I know that the official story is that Adam Pazinski, that's not how you say his last name, but it's similar. I know that they pinned it on him as the official story after he was already deceased. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that convenient? And let me be really frank, because that's all I ever try to do with you guys. I have always thought that the criminal defendant in the Idaho 4 case would also be deceased, unalived, in jail prior to a trial. And I hope that that doesn't happen. I hope that that doesn't happen, but that's often how these shady cases go. And we look at Brian Laundrie, and a lot of people think he's deceased. I personally never have bought that. Never, ever, ever. I've tried to look at it like, well, maybe it's possible, but I don't think it is. I really don't. You know, his parents are millionaires, right? His parents are absolutely millionaires. So not only did his mother work with government officials in Long Island, so think about New Jersey and government officials and the connections that she had in that general area. She had that job for like 25 years, you guys. So, like, why did they get their Steve Bertolini mobster lawyer from Long Island? Because that's where their connections are. And unfortunately, money can buy you out of trouble. So people who have a lot of money to hire those expensive attorneys can usually manipulate the system one way or another. So I think it's important to know that the Laundrie family is in the millions, their net worth. I haven't Googled them to see if it shows up on there. It might. They owned the juicing company that Gabby, you know how she said she was a nutritionist and that she had worked at a juice bar. They owned the juice bar, the company that made the machines or dealt the machines. And then Brian Laundrie's sister, Cassie, and her husband, I believe that they own a company that does repairs and replacement parts for all the juice machines. So that's big business. I mean, I'm a person who appreciates fresh vegetable juice and I drink a lot of juice, so I totally get it. But all I'm saying is that the Laundrie family is loaded. Don't let them fool you. They have big bucks. They have deep pockets. So that whole story of Brian flying back there for 6 days to save money by clearing out the storage unit is ridiculous on so many levels. So many levels. That makes no sense. Why did he fly back there? Why did he leave town on, I think it was the 17th of August, and then he came back on the 23rd of August? And the 6 days that Gabby stayed in that Fairfield Inn, we know that she emailed with her, I think with her family, with her mom and with her dad. I think her and her dad might have texted. I remember he ordered her a Domino's pizza on an app or something like that. So he paid for a pizza for her. So Gabby and Brian were having a lot of trouble with finances. Driving cross country is expensive. We all know that. And I think the financial strain of not having the website up and running, not having her vlogging page taking off yet. And she certainly had the skill and the talent to do it, but it takes a long time, and it's kind of hit or miss. I think it's really the luck of the draw. But Brian Laundrie grew up wealthy. Gabby grew up pretty wealthy as well. And they were able to make their own money and buy the van and take the trip, but they were running out of money. That's just what was going on. And then there was the whole thing with, it looked like she was shoplifting in the Whole Foods, which is very sad, very, very sad. I did not want to see that. Anyway, let's get on with Kylie. We love to talk about Kylie, and Ara's live last night was really to talk about the Watts case. She and I were both watching Amber Truth Seeker, ATS News, who has been doing the Watts case for years. She does other cases too, but Ara and I were both in her live chat. And then when she was done, when she wrapped it up, then Ara went on live to talk about the Watts case. Of course, we ended up talking about Kylie, a lot about Kylie. And I still think that there might be a domestic violence element to Kylie's case too. I personally think that. I know a lot of people think that Jägermeister is 100% in the clear. I personally don't think that he's 100% in the clear. I am suspicious of him still. So, and I don't want to point the finger at anybody that is not guilty. I honestly believe that he is guilty of something. I don't think he necessarily did anything hands-on, but I think he knows what happened, and he's one of the many people who's hiding the truth. So I just want to be specific about that. And yeah, I don't like seeing domestic violence, and I especially don't like seeing people kind of whitewash the domestic violence and try to look right past it. Yeah, and then the whole thing with the freaking Kansas City parade, Christine. Let me get caught up with you guys. I see that you said something about it. Yeah. So sad. There was a couple of teenagers, is what I heard on the news today. I'd rather be with you on my Friday night. Oh, you are so sweet, Anna Bean, all of you. Oh, not just me. Dang it. I was feeling special for a second there. I'm wondering about the teens' lives in Kansas City parade shooting. Ugh. I honestly was not surprised. I was expecting something crazy to happen with the Kansas City Chiefs winning after that whole friends freezing in the backyard situation after a Kansas City Chiefs football game. Ding, ding, ding. Sunset Salty Sage says, that's interesting, Jazz. I don't know what, because that was so long ago. I don't have my timestamps turned on, so I don't know exactly when that was. But how do I make that adjustment? Let's see if I can. It's nice to have the time toggle. There it is, timestamps. So Christine said that 7 minutes ago. I have no idea what I was talking about 7 minutes ago. Never thought that way. Oh, now I'm so curious. What was I talking about 7 minutes ago? Please do share if you're still here, Christine. I'm a little loopy if you haven't noticed. I was working so freaking hard on my yoga all day that I'm just kind of spent. I was planning on going live earlier. I was in one of Mark's chats and said that I would be going live. Oh, Brian Laundry. Okay. Thanks for answering the question. So yeah, I've spoken about it a few times, and the times when I've spoken about it on my lives, I've been kind of shy and delicate about it because I know that a lot of people believe that he is deceased, and I know that officially on paper he is deceased, allegedly. It doesn't add up to me. And that whole crazy thing with putting them under the raised garden bed in their backyard, in the parents' backyard there in what was the town that they lived in? Port something. What is going on with my crazy hair? Port I forget. Anyway, it's down there south of Sarasota. It's not North Point. What's it called? Where the anyway, it's a part of Florida that was like literally underwater. So you could buy houses there for really cheap. I want to say North Point, but let's see. I'm just Googling laundry family Florida. Northport. Oh, it's so close. I was one letter off. So Northport, near Florida's west coast. Right. So yeah, like I said, it's south of Sarasota. So Northport, you could buy houses there a few years ago for dirt cheap. And I think that that's what the Laundries did. I think that they bought that house for super cheap, like next to nothing, like maybe less than $10,000. And it's a nice house, but like I said, the whole town of Northport was underwater. So people who were able to swoop on those deals, and then the town was able to bail itself out. Basically, it sounds like I'm speaking metaphorically, but I'm speaking literally. So they were able to get the water situation under control. But remember too that the park that he went to, where he allegedly was, his dry bag was found, that park was underwater for most of the time that they were searching there. And they tried to use that as an excuse for not being able to find him and for cadaver dogs not being able to find him. Cadaver dogs can smell bodies that are underwater, even if they're frozen. But Florida is not going to freeze. And in that hot weather, there's no way cadaver dogs would miss that. There's absolutely no way. Man, my hair is like bugging out. It is crazy. I'm going to have to put on a hat or something. What to do? And now my watch has ended. Should I do this one again? It's hateful. It's absolutely hateful. And then I got to take the clip out and get the hat straight. And then I'm just like all goofy. What a goofy day. So, yeah. Am I presentable? Okay. Let's just wrap this crap up. just Anna Bean says, I don't think he's deceased either. Yeah, Northport. That whole thing, it was like didn't the dad literally have his dental records in his back pocket? And there's an uncle of Brian Laundrie's that's a dentist, and they like literally found a tooth, and then they tried to pretend that he was eaten by a freaking alligator and the alligator shat his freaking tooth out. You can't make this stuff up, you guys. No, no, nobody shat his freaking tooth out. Sorry, not sorry. I mean, these people say the craziest things, and then it gets floated as truth because it's coming from people in positions of power. It is crazy, 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 crazy. I can't even say the name of that park. I'm not even going to try. But they had, oh, here we go. Chris and Roberta Laundrie net worth. A net worth of $400,000. Interesting. Roberta Laundrie. Oh, wait. That's just Roberta. Hold on. And you never know. These sites are all different and they might be bogus. Yeah, it doesn't look like that reliable of a source. Anyway, I tried to Google the net worth while live. Okay, so talking about domestic violence, talking about in the Watts case, talking about potentially with Kylie, talking about potentially with Kaylee and Jack D. Obviously, with Gabby Petito, that was what did it. It's just unbelievable. It's so sad that those police officers were so poorly trained, that they didn't have the basic understanding of knowing that any domestic violence victim is going to blame themselves and is going to try to deflect blame from the perp, because the perp will abuse them further if they don't. You would think the police would have that kind of basic concept and basic training. But I guess they didn't. I guess they were not adequately trained. So it all comes down to training. But sometimes I find that law enforcement will claim that they're not adequately trained and use that as an excuse when they were actually trained. So just something to know that is kind of a typical out. It's like, oh, well, I didn't have enough training. And it's like, yeah, you did. You had all the training. Uh-huh. Okay. Guess again. And prophetic forensics, what a cool mind that woman has. And she just spoke for like 40 minutes on her last video and just really spoke from the heart and spoke in general, like how she operates, how she sees things, how she handles what she sees. And I found it absolutely fascinating. I think that she's got a lot of insight, a lot of sage wisdom, and I really appreciated having an opportunity to just see her speak like that. I thought she did really well with it. And pretty stunning. I love her voice. Don't you guys love her voice? She has an amazing voice. It's just hypnotic. It's like bedtime story voice. All right. Well, you guys aren't very chatty tonight, are you? Neither am I. Like I said, I'm pretty brain fried. So maybe we should wrap her up. We are getting close to an hour already, but Seeing Red Flag says yes. You're probably talking about what an awesome voice Prophetic Forensics has. She has a really cool voice. Super cool. Sorry, still doing housework. Oh, squirrels, you're awesome. I know I cleaned my house today too. That was how I listened to Ara's full live from last night. I hate cleaning, but if I'm listening to a live, it makes it so much more doable. Mm. Seeing Red Flag says, I driving. Yes, please. Just drive. Don't worry about the chat. I know it's so dangerous worrying about the chat when you're driving. It can be dangerous worrying about the chat when you're walking. I mean, even in your house, it's easy to like stub your toe on something, right? I know somebody who did that. Come to my house. My husband tries, but I listen a lot. So should I end the show by showing you guys my toenail? I do think it's going to fall off. I'm still praying that it's not going to, but I think it is. So let's see if I can get my, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get my foot up without hitting anything and without blinding you with that light? Let's see. I've got purple toenail polish on my other toes, but no toenail polish on the one that was injured. And can you see it? I don't know that you guys can see it from there and from that angle. So right here, it's like it's still cracked, the toenail is, but it's so much better and it's just healing up really well. But you see how it's all milky and there's like a little black dot right there. So it really looks to me like it's on the fence that the toenail might survive and that it might not survive. But I am just really grateful. I'm really grateful that it's continuing to heal. I did try to re-injure it last night because I'm determined. um So yeah, you guys, let's wrap her up. Let's just say good night, take a break, take some me time, and then we'll see you guys over in What's the Obsession and hopefully Squirrels on Fire if she's still up for a show as well. And who knows, maybe I'll be on a panel, maybe I won't. It all depends. It all depends, right? So today my therapist heard all about Kylie Rodney. Interesting, Jade. I'm fascinated by that because I talk about Kylie Rodney to people sometimes, especially when people ask me about my channel. I tell them that that was the case that I started with, and most people haven't heard of her, at least not by name. If you say like the 16-year-old that went missing from the graduation party in the woods in Lake Tahoe, it does click for a lot of people, right? And Christine talks to her therapist about Kylie also. And Mark has shared that he does as well. Oh, it still might fall off weeks from now. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Jade. It very well could. Oh, and you get to go work graveyard. My husband works graveyard, so it's rough. But what do you do, Jade? If you want to share what your graveyard shift is, I'm sure people are fascinated. Whatever it is, it blows my mind. Yeah, the Kylie case is mind blowing. It's a pile of crap. And one of my friends said, oh, her family must be so devastated to have lost her. And it's like, well, yeah, you would think, but who remembers Lindsay Rodney saying, "I've got bills to pay"? That was pretty stunning. That was pretty stunning. At the time, I thought, yeah, of course, we all have bills to pay, so I understand. And then it sank in, and it was just like, wow, she was really trying to minimize the importance of her daughter passing away. Just like on with the show. The show must go on. I mean, that's what she was saying. She might as well just said the show must go on. No, I don't want Truckee showing up. Oh, cleaning, 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 cleaning. Um, yeah, like maybe corporate cleaning, cleaning offices or something. So, oh, too close. Yeah, we definitely don't want any information like that shared. So, yeah, sorry I asked. I did not know. All right, you guys, I'm gonna just pack it in. Oh, I hit an hour and 1 minute. I'm expired like sour milk, right? I'm just super loopy, so I don't mind telling you guys that. And I'm looking across the room. I keep intending to wear this t-shirt for live. Is this the coolest t-shirt? Is that so pretty? It's simply stunning. Simply stunning. And then you guys have all seen them on squirrels. Very nice quality, Shan. Super nice quality. It's really remarkable. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have some of her t-shirts. And in person, it's even more incredible than what it comes across on the camera. Um, Yes. So good night, people. Thanks again for joining me. Love to you all. Sending you light, sending you love. And what else? What else? What else? Take really good care of yourself. If you're interested in trying to do the yoga class that I posted, I think it's just about 30 minutes and it's pretty good. However, there was one part where I forgot to do the same thing on the other leg. It's about like 11 or 12 minutes in. And if you, I wrote it in the notes, if you stop at the 13-minute mark and go back a couple of minutes and play that part again, then you can do it on the other side to even them out. But for the most part, I think I did halfway decent. I'm getting there. But it's hard, especially because, I really need to be teaching it every day to someone. And that's why I'm trying to do it on YouTube so that I can teach it to someone on YouTube. I think that would be cool. So, even you, Goslin. Good night, people. Love to you all. Thanks again for coming into the live stream, and we will see you on the next one. Light and love.